Hey, we're back here with Greg from Safety Integration, and the title of today's video is The Right PPE for Thee.
Nice.
Love that. I love that.
Yeah, we're just trying to have a little bit of fun.
Oh, and it's great. And I know this is something that you put a lot of work into, so can't wait to share it with the folks.
Yeah, and
we're talking about here.
From the last video rounds we did, I had some questions come in from the website, and they wanted, hey, you got some more stories. We like your stories.
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't know me very well, do they? Because that's a question you don't want to ask Greg. I got a lot of stories. So this one PPE for these. So a lot of times people get a fine or somebody gets hurt and they go, oh, how can we stop this from happening? I go, PPE. And PPE is personal protective equipment. It'd be a hard hat, steel toe boots, safety glasses, gloves, things like that. So I thought I got a good story that I can share with everybody. So this goes to a steel mill. They hired us to come in and look at their problems. Their dart rate, their injury rates were terrible. And the first thing you noticed, hand injuries. They had 500 employees. The hand injuries just weren't confined to one department like the maintenance department. It was throughout the plant, and it was their number one money driver.
Okay.
So stepped back and went, all right, it's time to evaluate. So you just don't go as a safety person in and start going and watching them do the job, right? But you do. So what else do you do? And this is where a lot of people that do safety forget about it, or business owners might not know the step. Instead of layering people in safety gear, stand back and watch and go, all right, does he need that on? Does he need a hard hat? Does he need gloves? Well, they obviously needed gloves. Well, then I went in and I almost had a heart attack when I saw the process. We're talking steel mill. They're handling hot steel, they're handling sharp steel, and they're wearing the jersey knit gloves.
Oh, jeez.
You know which ones I'm talking about? Those brown ones with the red insert?
They're the kind of cheaper ones, aren't they?
I didn't even know they freaking still existed, Randy. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
It's on a dollar rack at Mark's.
Yes. I asked the owner, I'm like, where are you getting these? He's like, I think we got them out of a basement, and they're $1 a piece. $1 a piece. So I wanted to know more cost. I have to talk to a guy that owns a company that's making a lot of money, and he's gonna not like my ideas probably down the road. So the next thing I did, lots of communication. That's why I tell everybody, this isn't 3 days, people. This took over 6 months, the story that I'm telling you to unfold, but I'm condensing it, obviously. So anyway, I go out and I start talking to some employees. How many gloves? And I realized, I went, how many gloves do you wear in a week? And I started getting numbers. And I just actually made a little form we sent out and did a survey. And it was average. The average employee, so the number was high for some and low for others, was 7 pair a week. So they were using 7 pairs, so that's $7 a week. Think about that. It's $28 a month, right? So that's what, $336 per employee per year, right? That's a good number now.
To have the wrong kind of frankly, the wrong glove on.
And not to mention the $400,000 in hand injuries they were having a year. So 400 grand in hand injuries average, and they're spending $336 a year per employee on gloves. And they're not stopping any hand injuries. So what do you do now? Well, we called a bunch of glove companies, a bunch of suppliers in the area, and we had them bring in some cut-rated gloves that were made for handling steel that had some protection in it. And I'm going, how do I explain this to the guy that's going to get the bill? Because they're about $10 to $15 to $30 a pair, depending on which one you go with. So I'm not going to be the one that picks the gloves. Who should pick the glove? The guy that's going to wear it.
That's exactly what I think too.
I want a guy or a girl that's going to wear the glove to tell me which one they like.
You always go to the person who's using the thing to say, what do you need?
Yes. Hey,
you could get the bean counter, have him put on the cheap glove, and handle some stuff, and then see what he says.
It was just better to get to get buy-in, to get people involved.
Yeah.
Right? Here's 3 pair of gloves. Wear them for the next 3 months. I'm going to bring a paper back, and you're going to tell me what you like, why you like it, and we're going to go from there. So we did that. So over the next 3 to 4 months, we collected a shit ton of data on the gloves that we had and what we used. And what we found out, this is where people were going to go, what? How do you save money buying a $10 pair of gloves? So the glove they decided on, and I'm not giving free advertising to the manufacturer because I don't know if I can, although I'm a huge fan of the glove. Ended up with our buying power because we had to buy, I think it was 1,800 pair or something like that right off the bat, $10 a pair. So the owner's going, wait, Greg, you're telling me I'm buying gloves right now at $1 a pair and you want to buy them $10 a pair? The budget isn't there. I'm like, relax. I just didn't pull these numbers out of the air. Here's the proof. So what we did find out too, talking to all the employees that tested these gloves for us, bam, they were using on an average of about 3 pair a month.
So there you go. And there's
I'm sorry, a quarter.
A quarter. Well, there's huge savings right there.
Oh my God. So let's say $40 a year to make it simple. To average was 3 to 4 gloves in a quarter. So $40 a quarter, right? Or excuse me, a year for the gloves because they were lasting for 3 months. blew my mind. So if you sit down and go, all right, so that's a savings. What was it, 336 to 40?
Yeah.
It's what, $296 times 500, $148,000 of savings in buying the gloves. Not to mention, what was cool was a couple guys had, we'll call it near misses, where they would have normally had a severe cut and probably got stitches, sent to the hospital for a couple $1,000s in medical. Prevented zero. They got hit and are like, I didn't get my hand cut. I got my hand cut doing this before.
That's huge.
So because they were involved in the process, giving me feedback, I didn't have to run around saying, put your gloves on. They already made it up in their minds that they like
That's great. Yeah, that's true.
And now we went, and I kid you not, in 6-month time frame, we went from 30 to 40 hand injuries a month to zero. It was amazing. And then I went to the owner, I'm like, how's that? I'm saving you 150 grand in gloves, and we're not gonna have any hand injuries now. And if they do, they're gonna be minor. So we just dropped over $400,000 average a year in hand injuries.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was insane.
And you know, too, I have to imagine the employees even felt a little, just because they were involved in choosing a glove, that's got to make the employer feel seem a little nicer in their eyes. I mean, like, hey, it's pretty neat that, you know, my boss got somebody involved and I had some say in it. I mean, that's like a win-win-win for the financial guy makes out, the workers make out, and for heaven's sakes.
And you see it right away. Culture, communication, using the guys and all working together and the girls that work there and getting feedback on what they would like to use and what they felt comfortable using. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and buy 60 different pair of gloves, right? You narrow it down. You present the data and say, this is the reason we went with these 3 gloves or whatever your story would be for that type of task. But doing that evaluation, communicating, working together, and even communicating to the glove supplier, letting them know, hey, we're looking at thousands of gloves here. Give me a price to test these things out. Most of them actually gave us the gloves to test. They're like, hey, we want your business.
Oh, I'm sure, absolutely.
So, I mean, that story is even longer than that. You know me, I could talk about it for hours, but that's the beef of the
But you know,
project.
that's something, Greg, whenever we do these videos, we talk about that. I mean, you know, you're not just a guy who goes, this is the equipment you use and all that. You really get in there from all perspectives and all the people who are involved in it. And that's important. That's really important. You came up with some really insightful stuff. So,
good deal.
Hey, if you need any help with this kind of, if you need to get a handle on some of your, and get a hand on things, make sure you have the right glove, number one, and you will if you're working with this guy. This is Safety Integration. If you're not already at the website, check it out. It's Safety Integration, safe, S-A-F-T, integration.com. A lot more great videos just like this where Greg shares a lot. And Greg, thanks for sharing that. I'm sure this is a great story that folks are going to remember and it will resonate with them.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me again.